repeat everything.
Who's reading what? Who wants this?
Oh, you want this?
You want time tabs? What do you want to do? Okay, I'll read.
You read.
All right, ready?
Okay.
Kristen Patch, 44226. Christine Belanger, 74366. Michael Greeley, 44595. Mark Turner, 52668. Jeremy Worcester, 50173. Matthew Bergman, 11936. Keith Culligan, 99434. Jonathan Fizell, 4180. Erica Kenyon, 11691. William Kenyon, 14650. Stephanie Lazat Croto, 30588. Tim Lindeman, 44918. Carrie Mason, 16823. Dennis Meacham, 6025. Joyce Kegel, 89606.
For a total of $5,958.79.
I'm looking at some detail here, so that's unnecessary.
If you have a question, bring it up now.
No, it's just detail on work that was performed. Sorry.
Somebody, Phyllis, you,
I'll do it.
Phyllis, you wanna read? You wanna read?
No, you
You
can,
wanna do that?
I don't care.
You can find that.
I'll give it out.
Yeah, I like this.
George Abel, 92632. Eleanor Cherry, 93641.
71.
Yep, something.
Okay. Jared Arsenal, I have to go slow, 81536. Joseph Bird, 80190. Mark Brightman, 39898. Gloria Bracetta, 51251. Karen Clement, 99736.
Sign in,
Alyssa Sanuski, 148648. Edward Decatur, 109311. Dwayne Demerit, 70791. Kiki Donna Swall, 3948. Pamela Frederick, 14314. Ken Gothia, 75343. Jason Grant, 50485. Andrew Gray, 51669. Andrew Greenbaum, 39788. John Isabel, 42412. Kip Kaiser, 59559. Michael Kilrain, 64044. Somebody got nothing.
Thank you.
Somebody got nothing again. Peter King, 16209. Elba Kazaka, 88185. Drew Labonte, 13777. Thomas Leeds, 31678. Heather Lindsay, 57576. Jonathan Markey, 2177. Elise McNaughton, 3255. Joyce Miller Void. Aaron Mitchell, 13415. Rachel Marbury, 5910. Wayne Robinson, 80258. David Roy, 120963. Brenda Silva, $1.83. Jeremy Smith, 50558. Kathy St. Leah, 58518. Katerina Tennant, 40303. Phyllis Thompson, 51293.
514.
514.93.
51493. Okay. Don Tilby, 7293. Joshua Turner, 19319. Donna Badabonco, 121435. Janice Weir, 70174. Horace Wood, 121179. Daphne Ross, 55722.
For a total of $22,988.06.
For a combined total of $28,946.85. Fire department had 6 hours overtime and the police department had 9.5.
CMN Cleaning, $12.50. Comcast, $149.85. Donovan Equipment, $112.74. P&J Auto Parts, $169.82. Jonathan Ellis, $155.52. Eversource, $17.55. Chris Fowler, $122.50. From Greenwood, $17.10.50. Hartman Oil and Propane, $945.50. Health Trust Incorporated, $25,608.02. Is that just a monthly?
Monthly bill.
Okay. Health Trust Incorporated, $11.54. Katarina Tennant, $14.99. Joyce Kegel, $141.81. James Michon, $2,000. National Wrecker Incorporated, $16.23. What was that for?
Told something.
What did you say?
Fire
You
truck?
want-
Fire truck?
No, no. Fire department, Joe.
Fire truck.
Fire truck. Heather Aworski, $1,024. New Hampshire Retirement System, $22,931.37. Treasurer of New Hampshire, $73. Pavement Protector, $10,725. Positive Promotions, $33.75. Revision Solar, $4,206.16. Ramon Networks, $2,388. Seacoast Mills Building Supply, $82.77. Southeast Land Trust of New Hampshire, $3,255.76. Stryker Medical, $429.51. Stratum Tire, $133.02. Trustlow Resource Consulting, $4,320.50. UniFirst Corporation, $52.94. Valak, $194.18. Verizon Wireless, $170.86. WB Mason, $367.69.
Grand total $84,422.05.
Got two rec checks.
So we had a pretty decent, 70,000, 30 some odd of it was a highway block grant. Otherwise, normal activity. But I still had to move $50,000, but this should be the low point since the bills are out. The money comes in pretty quickly here.
Thanks, John.
And the CD can do them all, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll be okay.
And I got everything.
Kip?
Gotta have those.
Although the light's pretty good.
Very
These are
nice.
the halogen lights? These aren't the new lights, right?
Yeah,
These aren't the new ones, but we replaced all the bulbs, so they're actually.
A clean now, these.
Okay, we'll start with 12 Wilson Lake. This would be Antonio Acton, and this is for a remodel in his, we're making a room. Look at that. rework of the stairwell and entry that was part of the project they started last year. The check is very delicate, very delicate.
The delicate check.
Go through the wash. Went through somewhere.
15 Mill Pond Road, Eleanor McLaughlin, and this is for a bathroom remodel.
Oh,
49 Eleanor's Way, Ed Moran. And this is for a generator and transfer switch.
okay.
21 Wilson Way, and this is for a shed at the clubhouse. And it's, put in by John Larry. 106 Route 125, and actually I think that is now 108, is what that number is. And this is Dennis Haywood, and this is for a foundation for a new dwelling.
Would this be a check, what's the name of that?
Is there a check on this one for Mill Pond Road?
No, she has not given me a check yet. So that has a big stick on it before the owner, 8 Block Drive, and this is Chris Fowler, and this is for 2 small additions, and the foundations only.
There we are.
And I made payroll again this week.
Very good. As long as you make you,
This
bottom
is another
line.
one that will come with a check in the spring when they start to work.
Correct. I was waiting on a letter from his,
Oh, sorry.
survey.
Let's get rid of it.
A lot of these, some of these lots have like 6,000 square foot, recovery areas for the septic. And so I have to have the engineers go back, bring it back to 4Ks.
We only get 07, you know.
Make sure you read what you sign.
No, I have regular mail.
No mail? Kip? Have a good night.
Enjoy the rain.
Thank you, sir.
Take a motion on last week's minutes.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Joe, you wanna come up real quick?
How's the chief of business? Hanging in there. Pull all your hair out yet? Oh. Didn't have any style. You guys are thinking that even more.
What I wanted to approach you guys on tonight was the use of a car. I've been back a couple of different times. It just make it a lot easier for me if I had a proper vehicle to do that.
Just set up with lights and
It's
everything?
got the lights and it's got a radio on it. We're just making my life a little simpler.
I don't see a problem with that. I mean, you're on call, so.
Okay with it.
Make a motion that while Deputy Bird is acting chief, he can take home the fire car. Have a second to that?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you,
All set,
Chief.
Chief.
Thank you, appreciate it.
The last safety meeting that I attended, there was discussion about either a yield sign being put up by where the generator is. I made a suggestion that we paint yield on the pavement instead of putting up a sign over by the generator, cause I don't think anybody will see that sign at the town office.
Okay.
Um,
When you come out.
So when you come out, because you have the traffic coming around from the
Right.
top of the PD, and then you have the traffic in the horseshoe coming out, merging at the same spot. So the safety committee had suggested that either a yield sign or something be put right there to tell people coming around the horseshoe that they need to yield to the people coming out of the police department area.
Okay. So please be right away coming out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one way out, yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
So do we wanna put a sign there, or do we wanna paint yield on pavement?
I think the pavement's better. I don't think, nobody will pay attention to the sign.
No.
No one will look at it.
You know?
No, I think if it's on the ground, they'll see it as you approach it, so that's my, yeah. I don't think they'll see
What
the
did the
sign.
safety committee say, which one was better, did they?
They said the sign, I came up with
Yeah.
the idea of the paint yield after the committee, because we still have to do that stop line.
Yeah.
So he has to come back anyways to do the
Both
line.
At the same time.
So if
that's
we
better.
paint the yield, there's, we can always put a sign up later.
Yeah, we can do that, so.
And once it snows here, it's coming in the snow, already, so.
I think a sign
Except
is
it gets
better.
plowed, so
The what?
I think a sign is better.
we can do both. But
Can we
we can
do
do the
both?
sign ourselves, right? We can do the sign.
Yeah.
sign.
Wayne can put that in after we
Yeah.
need it. As long as it's something, yes, we don't get a collision in the driveway.
I think
Is
since
the,
it's-
guy gonna be able to come before, it's getting kinda cold to start painting on the pavement, so. So we'll check with Wayne and see if we can actually still get striping done,
Yep.
and if not, we'll just have to hold off until spring.
But that's your preference, to paint the sign on the ground? And not a sign? Paint it?
Bill, you're good with the paint?
I'm good with the paint, yeah.
Dave?
I'm good with it to start with, see how it works. Then if not,
You
the sign.
okay or no?
I'd rather see a sign, but
Okay.
that's,
I can support that too. I mean, we could have Wayne do a yield sign there anytime, so.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm good with the paint though, yeah.
We can do both.
Okay. So we'll do both.
You could definitely see.
Chief?
Hello.
Okay, we have, the ACO background is almost complete, should be completed by this evening. Everything looks good. Once I review the background, I'll make a recommendation, but I would say, everything looks good at this point, so we'll probably be moving forward with, the new ACO. what we're trying to do with our SOP is just mirror the town's policy on that, which means we're taking the year probationary period that's in our SOP and making it 6 months, so it mirrors the town's policy. That's what the change is on that.
So let me just remind the board that we are looking at that hiring policy as well, and if we make a change, we would just advise all the department heads that we've made a change, whatever it might be, so they could be consistent.
She's looking at more of a change to the probation period than
Yeah.
the hiring policy.
Yep.
So
I don't think we'll change that.
she's asking that the policy read, all employees shall be considered to be on probation for 6 months from the date of employment, except in the case of uncertified police officers, whose probationary period shall continue for 6 months after graduation from the New Hampshire Police Academy. That is the change she's looking for.
But to the accrual of earn time will start at 6 months. The reason why we have to we put that 6 months post academy is we're gonna need that time to really evaluate. We don't really know what we have until we put them into service post academy. So that's why we need to have that additional 6 months probationary period on top of that.
And technically, it could be 6 months before they get to the academy, and then if they failed out, you would have another issue. Depends on how long it took somebody to.
Yeah, and that's an unknown, because you don't know when the academy's gonna start. And we could be looking at that, in 2019 with our opening right now. So we are, yeah, that leads me into where we are with that. So we.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Do this first.
Yeah.
So do I have a motion on accepting Chief's proposed change to her SOPs?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All set with that.
So where we are with that, our vacancy is, we've posted the position, I actually put it on Indeed.com, and we got a lot of interest right now. So Captain Roy has gone through the applications, the posting closing, or the, is November 30th, so we're looking at testing probably in January. That gives us time to notify the applicants of the testing date. So what they need to do is actually do a medical waiver and also the liability waiver, which they need some time to be able to see a doctor to do that. So our goal right now is to shoot actually for January 5th for the PT testing, and then we're gonna roll right into the written testing that following weekend. We have a lot of moving parts to this. We did test for the part-time position, and we're gonna hold off and interview all applicants at the same time. So we're looking at January into February before we have someone that we're gonna be, or a number of the part-time and the full-time position that we're gonna make a recommendation on. So it's a lengthy process between the physical test, the written test, the interview process, the background, and we're looking at like 6 months basically. So the interview probably late January, early February for the interview process.
Did you have any certified people apply for the part-time position?
Yes, we have a mass certified, so we just have to see, they're still probably gonna have to take the law package on that. So there, once again, another lot of moving parts to that.
No New Hampshire certified.
No.
Yeah, not yet. You might still get some. If it's open till the 30th of November.
Yeah, that's for the full-time position, but we'll be flexible with that. So if we have, a part-time applicant that wants to go for the full-time position, that's fine, providing that they meet all the qualifications. We're gonna be sending Officer Arsenal to FTO school in December. I cannot wait on that. The next one is in May, and with the new hires coming into play, I need to have someone to train them, and that was Corporal Wells, so I don't have anybody else, so I gotta send them to the FTO school. And before I get into the official recognition here for Officer Ken Goff here, I do wanna revisit the speed limit reduction sign. There's no surrounding PDs that will loan us a speed reduction sign, so I still wanna come back to that and see if we can get impact fees to, purchase one. And if you're open to that, then the next time around, I can give you a concrete figure. But I don't wanna do the legwork.
Any estimate?
It's probably around 3,000. Yep. That's what we'll be looking at.
What do we have for fees
I think
available?
over 20.
And that would be okay to use that for?
Yeah, it's
for
up
that
right,
purpose?
yeah.
Still waiting for, do you want me to wait?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would be okay if she put some stuff together. I think it's good
Yeah.
community relations as well as, you know, especially if we get one that records the actual speeds.
That's
You can
gonna be
actually
more
see
money,
what
though.
the,
Get some data. That's gonna be a little bit more
That's more
costly,
money.
but I agree.
I think in the long run, it'd be more, especially if you're getting citizens complaints that, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
speeds
yeah.
are up.
You can show them
You
what
can
there is,
actually
yeah.
put in a time block and they can,
Yep.
social media, whatever, and show people what,
So that also counts traffic flow, so
Yep.
you would know how many cars are on the road, so it's a double purpose thing. That's good.
Yep. I would agree with that. The new phone line is in effect for Rockingham County Dispatch, so when Christine's not there, and we don't have anybody, cause right now we have one officer pretty much on duty, cause we're down one. So when there's no one at the PD, it gets forwarded over to Rockingham Dispatch, so there will be someone picking up the phone line.
That's good.
The DEA take back, DEA drug take back day, I'm still waiting to get a receipt from DEA to see how we made out on that. And once we do, I'll let you know. Hopefully we'll post that on our Facebook page and maybe the Brentwood newsletter. They're very successful, as you all know. It's a great program.
I think the weather may have hurt us.
Yeah.
That's pretty crap.
And then the last thing I have is, I put together a letter for official recognition for Officer Kenny Hoffman. I don't know if you have that in your notes.
Yeah, we did read it.
Yeah.
Everybody
Okay.
read it and then
Read
you.
all
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
You know, it's good.
So this is one of those things that it's important to recognize what these officers do in this particular case. We had 2 on at that time, which was good, because we had Officer Kurt Holston going to the shooting in Epping, and we had Officer Gauthier going to the suicide call. And, well, it speaks for itself, really, the letter. And just so, you know, I think it's important that we understand what's involved in these kind of situations, is that, you know, as you're sitting there doing CPR on someone, you're trying to handle, and console a very grief-stricken family, all by yourself, and then realize that there's nothing you can do. And, I mean, I know that, you know, it was difficult for the officer involved because, you know, he is a veteran, a Marine veteran, and, you know, this particular individual struck a chord with him for obvious reasons, because he was also a veteran. But also, you don't have that time to really gather yourself. I mean, at that point, you gotta move into processing the scene, because you got one guy on. And, you know, I had the other officer over handling the Epping situation, or assisting with that. So what goes into that is actually processing a crime scene. So he had to process the crime scene, which means taking, you know, whatever's out there that needs to be taken into evidence, because it is an investigation, and console the family, do interviews, and then do the report when the dust settles. So there's a lot that goes into that, and to do it under those circumstances is commendable, which is why I wrote this letter. And I think it's important that, you know, I did follow up, and I know Captain Roy followed up with them just to check in and see how he was doing. And these things definitely affect the officers out there, and it's not like it happens one time. As we know, we're living in a climate of, like I said, you had 2 suicides really in one night, very in close proximity. So that should tell you, you know, where we're at and what we're dealing with on a regular basis. So you should be commended for that, and I think
at these offices, what they do.
I would agree. And the family, as you know, I put in the letter how appreciative they were, and, you know, I've been on this end of it, you know, and I've had letters written for some of the things that I've done throughout my career, and I can tell you, you know, I remember that the most. It meant the most to me to make that kind of impact in a situation that you cannot control, and in the worst kind of situation, so we should be commended for that, and I appreciate you hearing me out on that.
I think people should be recognized if they do something, you know.
And as you all know, I mean, on the heels of, you know, what we've had to contend with here recently, it's even more so important that we recognize it.
So, I'm just curious now, wonder, when we're down, how are we handling that? Are we?
I'm
are
glad
we
you
able
brought
to-
that up.
Yeah, cause I think it's important to know.
Yep, and I gotta commend Sergeant Wood right now, he runs the schedule, and he's kinda filled in for Corporal Wells, for those shifts, so we've had to fill the shifts.
Yeah, I
'cause
know.
we've gotta have coverage. We've tried to do it with part-time personnel, and we've done it, and we're trying to limit the overtime as much as we possibly can, and we actually have done a pretty good job with that. So I can't really give you the numbers, I mean, we have the remaining salary for that position. Hopefully we'll offset what we need to do to fill those shifts. I think it's pretty close, to be honest with you. We're doing.
But right now, we're handling it.
We're handling it.
Part-time, okay.
Yep.
And you'll be able to get through this
I'm hoping.
till we get into the first year.
I hope so.
Yeah. Good luck.
I hope so. So that's all I have.
Well, good news, that letter is a good news.
Very good.
That's nice to
Yeah,
hear.
that's
So,
good.
All right, I will, I'll get that out to him. He knows this, I'm gonna be doing something.
Yeah.
something with this. And I also wanna, write the family, do it, I might send them this letter. I haven't figured out how I'm gonna do that, but I will be notifying them that, you know, we definitely appreciate that, you know, we appreciate, sorry for their loss, but appreciate the follow-up.
Right.
They did with, you know, Officer
Yeah.
Goff, cause he did an incredible job with that. That's all I got.
Butch, I saw you taking notes. Do you have any questions for the chief?
Just one question. It sounds like you were trying to get the probationary period in line with the rest of the town employees,
Yes.
and the board just passed that. But I'm curious, what's the advantage to the town to cut the probationary period for police officers in half?
Well, in 6 months, they can start to accrue, earn time. So per our policy, they would have to go a whole year before they could start accruing earn time.
They can't accrue earn time if they're on probation. Is that the issue?
Um,
My concern for the town
No.
is you've
Yeah.
closed the door on if somebody, there's a problem in month 7,
yeah,
they're no longer on probation. The statute allows public safety officers, public employees to be on probation up to a year. And we're cutting that in half, and they may not even be through the academy, as Andy pointed out. So what happens at month 7? And if the issue you're trying to address is getting those guys the ability to accrue earn time,
Right.
which they should get from day 1, I'd support that.
yep.
I
That-
wasn't following
Yes,
why
so.
we're doing this.
It's actually 2 pieces to it. So to adjust our policy to be in line with the town's, policy, at 6 months, they start accruing earn time. We wanted to make that adjustment in our policy, but we also wanted to add on the 6 months post, academy, if you will, for the reason that we don't know if they're gonna work out, right? We need that 6-month period of time to evaluate after they graduate the academy. Cause really, we can't really measure their performance until they come out of the academy. That's why we put that additional 6 months.
So just so I understand what the board did, if somebody's hired certified, they're on probation for 6 months.
Yes.
Someone that needs to be certified,
Yep.
it's 6 months post-academy.
Yep.
And I'll ask the question because this is an education for me. The
Yep.
town of Brentwood does not offer accrual of earn time until somebody hits 6 months?
That's correct.
And is that across the board for all town employees?
Correct.
There's no accruation? I didn't realize that. I thought they got it from day 1, so.
And the other part of.
And I'll say, if I'm gonna comment, I think they should get their earn time from day 1. I don't know many employers that hold back on that, so.
The other part is we're concerned about what happens in month 7 if they're, if the 6 months probationary period doesn't mean that corrective action can't be taken after that period. So it's just a question of earned time.
Sure, since we're discussing it, I spent a lot of years as a public employee of the county. I think it was a year. I would make the argument maybe the board should go the other way and have a year for all new hires. But I do think people should get their earned time from the day they're hired. I don't understand the town's policy on that, but I wasn't aware of it until the chief brought it up. So if it gets to people what they're earning sooner, it sounds like a good thing. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Welcome.
Good night.
Andy, and reinforcements?
Oh, boy. Kathy, you did just to help out in case they need it?
Oh, I'm just here.
Oh.
Make her bring her own chair.
You brought the.
I was gonna.
Self-sufficient.
We have a cookie.
So no leave yet, you have no vacation yet, huh? Wow. So it's below last year's already.
Yeah.
So you're at a lower rate of pay than when Dave left, right?
Yes.
And that,
And that's the
he'll
drop?
Yeah, and he'll still be at a lower rate even after, the 6-month probationary period is up.
But we had 40 hours a week though, right?
Yes.
I have a question. I'd like to see the hourly pay on all the payrolls, all the budgets, not just the last figure, cause I think at the
Oh,
time.
you mean saying when we present our budget, you wanna see an hourly rate?
Right, you can just tell us,
Oh.
Yeah.
and I can put it in, but I think they should be there so people, when they read the minutes, can see how much, I mean, it's public information, so it's nothing that we're,
Sure.
I mean, I just look at the figure and think, well, how much is he making now?
CD what?
So it'll be 18 after my first 6 months, and I'm proposing the 5% to 19.
To 19. And David left, David was at 1950.
So the 19 is a
So what-
39,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be.
What-
okay.
Well, no, because it
Well,
would be a
no,
different offset.
it's 18
Okay,
until
so-
6 months,
right,
and then
okay.
it
Yeah.
goes to 19, so it's kind of an odd figure for this year, but it's still,
When's the 6 months up?
This is based off of
December.
August.
December's up, yeah, my 6 months are up in December,
okay,
and
so-
then, correct me if I'm wrong, the portion of my 18 will also roll into 2019.
correct,
And then
until.
the
They don't
last-
start
So
till April
April,
first,
yeah.
it starts April first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright,
So
so
it's
it's
18 until April, and it'd be 19.
So it's
19 the last
18
9
now.
months.
Yes.
18 now, and then in April,
19.
19, the
19.
last 9 months?
And last year, we were budgeted at 1950 for the year.
For Dave.
Well, I guess it would be the same thing, April too, it was 1950.
so now I'm confused.
So what we budgeted for this, we're in now, we were budgeted at 1950 per hour
For 2018.
for 2018. And that's when David had the position.
But he had more experience, right?
Not
don't know.
really,
But that 40,000 number.
different experience.
Was for last year, that would,
Well, he
David
was on
was
the
right-
job longer.
He was, and he was right out of school when we checked David.
Okay,
I've
maybe
been
I'm,
working in the field for at least
I
6
just-
years prior to this.
I'm sorry, Phyllis, did I not explain it right? So
well,
last
maybe
year,
I'm just thick today. It's been a
last
long
year's
day.
budget,
No, I
this
don't
year's
care about
budget-
last year's budget, what I care about is this year's budget, what's he gonna be making an hour?
$19.
$19 an hour as of April, proposed in April, take effect in April.
In April, it'll go
Correct.
to 19.
Correct.
And what was the 1950?
That was the previous rec director's salary.
Oh, the previous, okay, I
Yes.
didn't hear that, okay, alright.
And that was based off of a study that he had done.
Right, I
Compared
don't
to
have,
towns'
I just
programs.
wanted to understand, I didn't,
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that, I just wanna be clear.
so right now he's getting 18, he's gonna get 18 for January, February, March. Then April 1 he goes to 19.
Right,
That's
okay.
for the 39,000.
Okay.
Everything else is pretty well the way it was, right, pretty much?
We do, one
The only-
increase was
yeah.
dues and subscriptions. And that was for $99 for the NRPA. Can you spell backwards? What does it stand for again? So,
to bring up your
National
suggestion.
Recreation.
It's, yeah, it's,
Can I say that?
so the NRPA is the National Recreation and Parks Association.
And then
That
the-
was the original 99 a year.
Maintenance.
I'm at the 65 I'm asking to
Yeah.
increase on is the NHRPA, which is the New Hampshire Parks and Recreation Association.
Yeah, which, they're really awesome resources for the department.
I plan on using these things, you know, that will help me get, you know, my CPR, not CPR, what was it?
CPRT.
CPRT certification and attend regional
What's the difference
seminars and
between
trainings.
this and this?
And David was, I think, our first director who really took advantage of a lot of those, and, he was able to bring a wealth of information back from them, new programs, ideas, fundraising, stuff like that. They were very beneficial.
What is a CPRP certification?
It is,
David had that though before you left.
You
yeah,
did, yep.
Certified right before you left.
it is the National Certified Parks and Recreation Professional Certification. It's just further seeing my certification within my position.
Another $6 on pay raise.
I'm sorry. At least do it, sorry.
So I have a question for you on maintenance, land maintenance, and land facility improvements. So the land maintenance is the fields, mowing, irrigation, all that,
Yep.
and setting it up for the various sports that are gonna be played. What's the land and facilities improvements?
That would be, I guess, major improvements. We typically don't end up putting anything on the land under that. It's more like building improvements is, and then what we end
Are
up.
we doing a new Snapchat, are we doing something, are we doing new dugout, what do we do, what would you, where would that, what would you do with that money?
We
It's
could
not a lot of money,
use-
I know, but.
Yeah, we could use, it typically, it's more for stuff in here, like we've done in the past, we've done blinds, or we've painted, stuff like that, and it's not a lot of money, so it's not like we have a lot to work with.
So if we need a new flagpole holder, would it come out of that?
It could, yeah.
Yeah, it's a facility.
Just saying.
But like, we've used it before on like, I believe the steps, remember when we had to redo those steps?
Oh, yeah, the steps were pretty bad,
And the
and the ramp
railings.
was pretty bad.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we used that.
And we repaired all those
Yep.
since the last time we were, yeah.
Yeah.
So the land maintenance is mowing,
Mowing, the irrigation system,
but don't we have
Who does
the,
the
we have the
mowing?
vendors doing the mowing though, right?
Town does the
Town
mowing.
does.
no, it's contracted out now, isn't the mowing?
Yeah, but that's in the highway budget.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
in the
So
highway
that's not
budget,
used for
so-
mowing either.
But it's the,
I think that's, you have True Green or one of them.
Yeah,
so
it's
Oh, it's
True
just,
Green.
so the
Yeah.
treatment, okay.
Yeah.
It's more the treatment stuff than that.
Yeah, it's treatment.
and occasionally we'll have to, like, what do they do when they take all the little chunks of the dirt out? It's not irrigated, it's, aerated?
Aerated.
Yeah, we'll have to do
Okay,
that
that's
every
okay.
couple years, that
That's
kind
not
of
really
stuff.
mowing, then there's other stuff you do. to-
Yeah, it's more like treatments.
Yeah.
And if the irrigation system, cause that's a pretty big system that has to be maintained as well, it has to be shut down too every year.
Do we subsidize any of that with the field use fees that we get? Like when we let a football team come in and use the field, do we use any
Out of the
that?
revolving,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes when we go over, we have to spend it out of the
Yeah.
revolving.
But I'm just saying, if we have teams coming in using our fields, we should maybe set aside that money to help pay for fertilizer and stuff like that, rather than it all coming out of the town. That's my only suggestion. I don't know how much, I know
Well,
at
it's
one
big.
point we had a whole football team here that practiced, played here, and paid the town money to use the fields. I don't know if that's still going on or not.
Yeah, we can get you figures on that income, and,
Doesn't EJBL maintain the fields
so
in exchange for using them?
ESJBL, Exeter Junior Softball something, to me acronym, they now help, so we organized with them, they put in like infield mix and they improved the softball field, that's kind of their focus. It's like a barter situation where they don't have to pay to use our field, but they're making our field much better.
That's the type of thing I'm getting at.
Yep, so and I was just saying, we don't have a ton that are consistently, that I would think are big money makers.
The last not even major, it was a soccer team playing their Saturday morning games or
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon games here. That was the only thing in my
But
short time
it's
being
not
here that we
like
got
the
for
like,
rent
I
our
can't
fields.
remember what it was, Pop Warner or something, it was a big football Yeah, and that was before my time, so it's, we don't have a ton of, I would say, consistent field income that would help offset it. We have a little bit, but it's not a ton.
Any other questions?
You guys ever think we'll have your own maintenance guy, do your own work around here outside? Like having a seasonal person here that would, like, weed whack and do stuff instead of having the vendors from the town?
To do fertilization, you have to have a.
Well, how about somebody just was around here being like your maintenance guy, maintain the building,
Joyce
do weed
kind
whack?
of does some of that.
The trash bag and stuff.
When you have all the events, you have that. I mean, I know we have the vendors, the contract guys, but are they doing enough? Do you want, is there any enough money to have your own person here?
I don't think we could warrant a salary for that. It's a nice thought, we had all sorts
I
of.
mean,
money
somebody that could be here to actually watch the place, you know, you have stuff going on.
There is a lot of maintenance that needs to be done to this property and buildings, I mean,
But then at the same time, I know we'd have to raise
Right,
prices on
yeah.
programming and, you know, it's a lot, I just spent $180 for 3 kids. And that's with the discount to play basketball, so, you know, keep good programming. I mean, I'd like to see if we could rent the building more. I mean, that's obviously an income, and that's where we get a lot of the income to spend on programming and fixing stuff like the mold we just fixed. So,
and I think we do a good job renting the building.
It's always
so
busy on
we
the
have, what,
weekend.
3 weddings booked?
Yeah, 2019, people want to book weddings.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's getting out there.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other questions or any other
No,
line
no
items
problem.
you wanna bring up?
Bill, you, Phyllis?
No, I'm all set.
I'll take a motion on the 73047, which is down $700 from last year.
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on 73047 for the recreation budget? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good night. You know, lost joint. Find that lost joint? It's on the floor.
I still got it, I can put it back, so. Lost joint.
Joint loss management is level funded at $241.
I'll make a motion, we accept that level funding at 241.
I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Health officer at $1 level funded.
Oh.
Make a motion.
Second?
Any discussion on $1 for the health officer? He's not here, so we can't complain.
No. But he loves that guy.
He used to be 100, so we cut him back.
All in favor of $1 for the health officer?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Keep it up.
Is mosquito on the contract, is that a good number we have to do?
Mosquito's under, she's raising her fee $500, but.
Yeah, it was 30. Well, it was 30.
It was $30,500, but within that, she builds in 8 treatments for Tripoli or West Nile at the school and the PRC, and we typically don't use them, so I just kept the budget level funded. It still has money in there in case we have to do a few emergency treatments.
So it's going up, but it's not going up.
Right.
Make a motion on mosquito control. 30.
Second?
Any discussion on mosquito control? All in favor of $30,500 for mosquito control?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Street lighting.
Where do we have street lighting at?
We have street lighting over the Stephen Arkell Memorial on
Okay.
Route 107, and that's the only one, correct? Do we
Yes.
pay for in the traffic lights?
No, just this.
Okay. I'll make a motion, street lighting, 250.
Second it.
Any discussion on $250 for street lighting? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Next is debt service. Debt service is down 5,000 and change due to, looks basically like the open space bond was a good sized decrease as well as the Lyford property. And Prescott Road is down $300. Any discussion on $295,000?
No.
Not that we have a choice, but. I'll take a motion.
A motion for debit service at $2.95.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor of debt service at $2.95?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have another debt service here, which includes the library, the fire station, and, these are all interests. The first one was principal, these are all interests on the bonds.
And that's also down.
This is also down 22,000-ish. The biggest decrease there would be,
Second question.
yeah, it's just like pretty much everything is down a little bit.
Down 3,000 per year.
Make a motion.
I have a motion for 411,000.
No,
It says 116.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
I have a motion for 116,713. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on debt service interest at 116,713?
Oh, I see, and this is the total.
Aye.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So the total debt service is $411,713.
Yes.
Yep.
Between interest and principal. Information systems, are we doing this tonight? Information systems is down $100.
Okay.
So the
That's
time-
an,
I have
that's
a-
an as needed ongoing replacement.
Well, this is the support costs for Armon, so this is a monthly support cost that we pay them
Oh,
for
okay.
all of our hardware needs.
How much is it per month then?
It's,
42,000 for the whole year, right?
it is
Yeah.
And we pay
$14.96 for the
$14.96
town
for
hall
the website, which is
per month.
terrible.
So it's just about 18 for the town office.
So how come the website and internet service is up?
Because the domain fees to, register the Brentwood NH.gov has gone up to $400, it used to be $125, and then our internet service fee has gone up.
We can't check to somebody else to get another website, cause our website is not user-friendly.
Well, and we can, but that would be a whole separate project to build out an entirely new website and do the design. So this website cost here is the support fee for Mainstay to support it, and then, also
Well, I
the
don't
domain
think,
fee
I
to
don't
register
think
the
they're
domain.
worth $1,700, but it's,
I do agree that we need to redo the website, but
And their support fee went up from $80 a month to $109.
Just a question on that budget. How much are they charging just to register the domain name?
$400 a year.
$400 just to register the name.
Used to be $125.
and is
Just,
that-
just a comment, it's just hugely inflated over what it costs to register a domain name.
Correct.
Do we know why?
That was a notice from, the NH.gov to have the .gov domain.
It was from the state, not from Rama.
Right.
Oh, that was a state fee.
Right, that's not a fee that we pay Armon.
Well, that's
That's
ridiculous.
through registrar.gov.
So that would be whatever, wherever we went.
If you wanna keep the .gov
Yeah.
domain.
That seems like we're getting screwed
you think?
by the state.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is if we change the .gov now, we gotta change all the email addresses.
Yeah, everything would have to
Right.
change, we'd have to, that'd be a massive undertaking, that would be a huge project. So,
But it might be if the fees start going up.
well, if they continue to go up like that, it might be worth exploring changing from .gov to something else, .org, .com, something.
I think we
That's-
could get .us or something.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it seems.
But I don't know what the federal government would charge for .us.
I don't know either.
New Hampshire's charging $800 for .gov.
So, the federal government might charge $2,000, who knows? Depends on what happens after today. We'll see how that works. I think for the time being, probably ought to just stay with what we have, but maybe think about down the road, maybe exploring something else.
I think in January, I'd like to launch a website committee.
Yeah, that might be good.
April after town meeting.
Back to the budget. All right, any discussion on the information services budget of $42,973? Do I have a motion on $42,973?
Nobody wants a motion? I'll motion 42,973.
Do I have a second on 42,973?
Second.
Any further discussion on 42,973? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Even with the increases, it's less than.
It's less, but
Yes.
still, it's a lot of money for that.
It's a lot of money.
Jeez.
Still less.
What
than
you get now,
paid
last
last
year.
Do you have any prepared documents?
The letter certifying myself as an authorized, person in the health trust portal to be able to have new insurance notice.
Do I sign that CEO?
And I felt like I shouldn't sign my own
Yeah.
authorization.
So, well, I was wondering if I signed the
Probably a
CEO.
good plan.
What I-
Do I have a motion to sign that Karen's authorized to act on our behalf on the health trust portal on their web function?
Yes.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
This is an update to the harassment policy. The only change I made was to include gender identity as part of the new law that was signed by the governor in July.
So, does anybody wanna look at this? This is our harassment policy.
Okay.
There was an update made to include gender identity as a protected group,
Just one minor change.
which is part of a new New Hampshire law that was signed by the governor.
I'll show you where it is. If I can find it. It's just that,
All right,
I think it's up here. Sexual orientation.
Right.
That's what it is. Yeah, okay.
okay.
I think we're okay.
Okay.
That's just sexual orientation.
Gender identity.
Gender identity.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor to update the harassment policy?
Aye.
Any opposed?
One last thing.
Oh. We have to sign it now. That's consistent with what's going on everywhere else.
Right.
The Pinkhams have inherited the Sampsons lot at 202 North Road. So this is where that white church is, that white house right here that they rent out.
Mhm.
And then there's a trailer right here off, and this is all Lyford Lane now. Their original deed identifies them as having 3 separate parcels, except we don't identify this section here as a separate parcel.
Okay.
So they want to know, cause the deed is what drives, these 2 parcels have their own separate septic and well on each of them, so they just wanna have these lot lines delineated. This is a 3-acre parcel in total, this is about a 1/4 acre by
So the
itself.
mobile home will be by itself.
Right, but then they'd be able to sell the lot and be able to take down the mobile home and put in a regular home.
So the apartment house, single, then 3 acre
Correct.
lot for the wall.
Well, this would be, like 2.6 acres. 'cause it's
But it
like-
shows 2 lots here, that we have, right?
Right, but this is a survey that they did, that's not how we reflected on our current
Oh.
tax maps. Our current tax map shows this with the trailer here, it doesn't show this property line right here.
Yeah.
But in their deed, it identifies this as parcel 1, 2, and 3.
This was done 10/28 of '86.
Really? So we
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want more information, and they're wanting to come to a meeting and explain it if you want them to, but it's a 2.5 hour drive for them.
No, I don't see any I don't mean, whatever. If we're showing it as 2 lots, I mean, I don't know why, unless they got changed. Have you
Kathy,
wanted-
can I put you you on the spot and come up?
They met with Glenn last week. I think that deed goes way, way, way back, and they're just rewritten. Deeds of that tract, I kinda looked it up, and the way that deed is written goes way back before that 1986.
Yeah.
Goes back before that was done, and that's a recorded plan that they have. Somebody did a plot plan at some point, and they met with Glenn because of that plan. It's recorded at the registry, and because of that deed that shows those parcels. So Glenn said that, there's been precedent in town where that's happened before. So he suggested to, Paul Pinkham and, Sharon and Donna, Pat Buxton. Pat Buxton's the other one. That they come to the select board and see if they recognize those as two separate lots.
So this is a recorded deed?
It's a recorded deed. Yeah, there's there a note on the
plot plan.
bottom of it, it's a recorded deed.
Yeah, D 168.
It's a recorded plan, and my perspective, how I understand things is the deed really is the legal representation of how the lots are. It's how the final word is sort of.
And the people that do our tax maps never pick that up?
Never picked that up, and that's not the first time, Phyllis, and we've always been told that our tax maps are never legal representation. They're based on knowledge that they have at the time. So, I mean, if we're looking for tax maps, you've got to find pieces that really aren't always lined up, depends on the survey, how long it was done. We've had tax maps, I think the first tax maps were done in 71, 72. So prior to that, we didn't have tax maps. I don't know how it was done before then. I'm old, but not old enough that I worked with them.
Is that something that the
They're all
selectmen do, or the, planning board has to do? See, it's a recording,
Yeah, I don't see any problem with it. Look at this.
This little piece went in here. And this.
Kathy, what do we have to do as a
So
board?
that's all
to-
houses.
If that's something that you want
This is
to
all,
acknowledge.
this is all life and land.
Yeah,
All
that's
If I
all
understand correctly, we have the
The
assessor.
home is down here, and that's
assessor
the apartment across
sign
the
different
church.
maps. We did it with
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
property
That's
on
what
Big
that
Rock
is, a little
some
apartment
years
house.
ago. So I think
Across
junior
the church,
assessor.
and there's a mobile home. You
As
go
long as
right
you
to
people
that
say,
mobile
yes, we
home.
acknowledge this is two separate lots,
Do
and
they have
the
two
owner is
lots
shown
or
in
two
the
lots?
application.
All that's
that they
houses
have
and all
two
that's
lots
life and
and
land.
on the tax, they want it
So-
separated.
All this is life in here.
So it would be, what we're doing is we're just
Just
going
that little
with the
farmhouse
deed
across
that would
the
say
church,
3
Baptist
parcels
church.
instead of 2.
That's it.
Well, it'd be two parcels, because that
And
third
this is
parcel
life
is
and land.
is
This
Pat
is all
Buxton's
houses.
house across the
That was-
way.
this is all
So
private.
that
And the
deed
mobile home that Gino
represents
lives in right
what's
here.
parcel 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
What we're saying right now is
this little.
legally, we don't say this line exists.
Oh, okay,
It's recorded that it exists
Right.
with the county, but we don't acknowledge that
Right,
this
so, I mean,
line
it's-
exists. So we would be voting on giving the,
Giving them that.
recognizing
giving
that
them
this
that
line
property.
actually exists
right.
and having our assessor create tax for that.
See, it looks like it's legal there.
And if I could comment on that, I would say to the board not to take any action, because if this was discovered by somebody else and the assessor found out about it, you would just redraw the lines on the tax map and send them new tax bills for each separate parcel. We actually went through this in our family, the parcel that my mom lives on, my sister lives on, and now Mr. Vigno lives on. When we moved up here, the town gave one tax bill, and we had parcel 1, 2, and 3. And this has gotta be 25 years ago. We met with the assessor and said, hey, here's the deed. We would like our separate tax bills, because these are all lots of record. And with no action by the Board of Selectmen, we talked to the assessor's office and they issued tax bills, so there's 3 separate parcels. And I would say if the town had discovered this, they would be issuing 3 separate, or 2 separate tax bills. I think there's 3 tax bills issued now.
So can you have Robert look at that? Just
Jim.
be sure.
Jim.
Jim, yes. Oh, where are you, Robert?
And then issue the appropriate.
Yeah, and see if he can just do that, or if he needs a vote from us, or,
I don't think Howard needs a vote from us when it's there, it's
Yeah.
recorded.
I think the problem is it's not in the deed, it's only on that plot plan.
Oh, it's not in the deed?
It's
It's
a
in the
deed.
deed, the measurements are in the deed.
Oh, it's in the deed?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's in the deed, it's 2
Yeah,
lots.
the measurements are
I
there.
Yeah, all we gotta do is,
It's in the deed, it's 2
Yeah.
lots, it's not in the deed, it's not in the.
Hey.
I would just be concerned if you take any action endorsing something without having done all the deed research and everything, there may be
right.
a fish in the pile you don't know about.
Thank you, Bruce. You're right.
Next week.
That's it?
Just gonna-
Wow.
This is-
What?
That's it.
So, we had the video system is failing at the town hall.
It crashed last night.
It totally crashed. How old is that?
Oh, like 6 or 7 years old. We put
Okay.
that in right when I started here.
So, can you email this out? Karen will email out a proposal that for a new system we have to do something, so. Whether we go with that proposal or ask her to get more. Would everybody like at least one more quote from a
So they
different
just-
vendor?
So they just crashed?
They've been
On the blink?
on the blink for a while, and so we've been limping along. And so Christine would often just have to reboot the system to get them
Back
back
up,
to life.
yeah.
And that's been working for the last several months. And then yesterday when I came in, they were just blinking and revolving through all of them.
But unfortunately, if you look, we don't even keep a phone more than
I know.
Right, so we shut them off yesterday to save the monitors.
So yeah, we could get another quote then for.
Yeah, the one good thing about this company though is it ties into our bird one, so it's all.
Is that it?
Yep.
Period study. What's the video at the houses? I thought we didn't have it.
Is it
Yep, we have this video in the meeting room. This is security video, not.
Oh, okay.
Security.
I'm like, maybe we can do the two things at once.
No, this,
Yeah, we'd like to tie the, yeah, we'd like to tie
Yeah, go
the,
to Best Buy and buy them.
let's tie the public meetings to the security.
No, he just said,
Put it out on the
video. I'm like,
website.
I thought that was the whole problem. We didn't have any video.
I think a lot of people are unaware of it, so if you wanna fully answer that, the town has a security system, there's cameras.
There's cameras on the
Monitored in the
front door,
police department.
in the hallway,
For people coming
in the
in.
2 meeting rooms. And then at the police department has video at the front door,
Parking areas, yeah.
parking areas.
And do those include the remote cameras? Is that part of the same system?
No.
That is not part of the same system. They didn't have remote cameras back then.
And who monitors? Like, who-
It's recorded at the town offices. There's a couple monitors. I think there's one in the town clerk's office, there's one in the selectman's office, that they can see the front door.
So we can see who's coming in to get the entryway.
So you monitor them when there's a key occasion to monitor them? It's not something that somebody does on a regular basis?
No. And then the meeting rooms are recorded in case there was ever an incident that needed to be.
So you have video in the meeting room? You just-
Security cameras. Not
Just security, it's not a system,
There's no sound.
yeah.
Okay, but you can see what's going on.
Yes.
You can see who's there in the meeting.
And the
You
police
can't-
department-
And that's a separate system from the remote cameras they have the town shed.
Yes.
And how many remote areas do we also have?
Just the town shed right now. I would like to do this over here for vandalism purposes, but
Yeah.
I know that would be a big undertaking and cost. But the police department does a very good job of making sure that there's not a lot of vandalism over here. Did you have any?
And we live in a safe community.
The 16 safest.
Does anybody have anything?
I
don't.
Ms. Ferrer?
Butch?
Yeah, the only other question I have is, I'm assuming that the overtime for police and fire, I haven't been to that many selectmen meetings this year, but every time I've come, there's been overtime in police and fire. And I'm assuming that's because we don't have enough,
Help.
help in those departments, so that's what the overtime is.
Or a specific incident.
Yeah.
Or training.
Or training.
Or court.
But aren't things like court and training sort of in the regular budget, or no?
Not really.
No, because any of the full-time officers have to go to court, they have to get paid, and it's outside their normal patrol.
But most of it has to do with we don't have enough staff either in those places, right? So currently, we're trying to hire one full-time and one part-time, police person?
Yes.
And what are we looking for in the fire department?
Nothing.
Nothing? Not
I think we're
volunteers,
staffed, I think we're staffed up in the fire
not
department.
volunteers, not,
Well, the fire
Volunteers.
department's always looking for call-in volunteers.
Okay.
They actually have a big section on their website of come join.
And do they explain the process for doing that? I know, like, I think you have to pay up front and then you get reimbursed if you get hired or something, or how does that work?
I have no idea.
Okay, can we find that out maybe, or,
I believe it's on their website.
Okay.
Or you could stop over and say hi to Joe.
and just find out, I just thought for maybe if there's some, you know,
You're
college
interested?
students or something that are in the area, they didn't know.
Well, we also offer the live-in program for college students, so they also have that where they can kind of be like an intern and be at the fire department, go on calls and have dormitory style privileges.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Kathy?
No, I'm all set, thank you.
I have one more question, I know we're all sitting here. What would it take, cause these budgets are all getting huge, if you pulled your insurance and retirement and put it in a separate fund out of the budgets?
Yeah, a lot of towns do that.
Had like one big, massive retirement thing for all town employees, and it's all just counted with retirement. If you look at the PD budget's gonna be huge with all the,
Yep.
and the fire department, and the town people, we gotta, the big deal, cause
One year it would look great, and then from then on
You got no, Laurel, I mean, you look at Andy's budget, you know, he's got, out of 73,000, he's probably got 15,000, which is just that stuff. I mean, when you get to the PD, it's gonna be like $300,000. I mean, it puts your budgets out of whack, it's money they're not really using, that we're appropriating, but it goes out of the, it makes your budget look huge.
I do know a lot of towns do that.
I mean, that would be.
The county does that, they call
Look
it
into
a
that.
pool fund, and they,
Yeah.
every department has their insurance or something paid out of their health insurance pool fund. So each department doesn't have to budget for that
What
particular
I'm saying,
item.
it looks huge, I mean, you look at their budgets, so they're not going on the line, but they are, because you got that big chunk.
If you like to stay after March.
No, I'm good. I'm gonna be sitting out there, I'm gonna sit with Butch and enjoy the other
But
side.
if it's not in the
That's a good point
budget,
for him, but too,
But you can have a whole thing, you know how much it is ahead of time.
There would be a select, it would fall into the selectmen's budget that
Right.
we, everybody's healthcare came out of one line
Right,
item.
right.
And then that, when we get a 10% health insurance increase, it's just that one line item instead of
everybody's
budget going up, showing an increase, when really it's because health insurance went up.
They're gonna go up this past year, well,
Yeah, it went up a lot.
it makes them look on the line and they're really not.
Right.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Butch, you asked me a question last week, what the past town clerk made when she left.
Oh, I looked it up when I went home.
She left at $32.30 an hour.
An hour.
Yes, so I take back my statement, she was grossly overpaid. It sounds like she was adequately compensated for her time.
You were furiously writing over there, be good to me, I'm just a fill-in.
If you'll indulge, I know you guys have had a long day, just some quick questions, and I'm gonna hit on the camera system first, because it was news to me that we had remote cameras that all the selectmen can monitor at the town hall. So my
can't do it.
question about
No,
that
no, no.
system.
And not
I can't do it
the
that-
I'm
town
sorry,
hall.
the town
Town
shed.
shed.
That, the people that have access to that are, I assume, the town administrator and the selectmen, and hopefully the PD. You guys all have passwords to log into that?
Yep.
Do those ever get changed when there's a new election?
Well, this is the first time we've had them, so that's something we can do.
This is, this year?
This year.
Okay, I didn't know if it's something that.
Nope, this is brand new in the last 4 months, maybe.
Okay. When you guys were doing the warrant, and I wasn't paying super close attention, but I heard Southeast Land Trust mentioned. Is somebody when you guys read the warrant?
The
The AP
budget.
for this week,
Yeah, so are we paying them for something?
that's for, easement monitoring, so they go through and they, monitor all of the conservation easements.
Okay, and the town department pays for that, and that's a one-time, once a year.
Right, so yep.
All right, I just heard it, it's not my thing, I was curious what it was.
$32.55.
To monitor all of the easements in the town.
I,
Right.
I called it AP, that's why when you said the warrant, I was confused.
Okay.
But I got what you said.
Appropriate, yeah.
You can get paid to walk in the woods.
Yeah, I was unaware of it, and I didn't know what we were paying them for, so thank you for answering that. And then, the other question I had is, do you think things that come up like mosquito control and the information technology contract, are those put out to bid every year, or do we just stay with the same vendor year after year?
Our one was put up to bid in 2018, and they were awarded that contract, so this was the first year that we stayed with them. It was a one-year contract. So just staying with them for at least one more year to get a feel for if they.
And that's the information technology people, or
Online,
the?
yes.
Okay.
mosquitoes, like a 2-year contract or something, when we do it.
It's been with her since
No,
two
it's
thousand
been-
six.
Yeah, it's been,
Yeah, but we
it's 3
don't
years
need-
first and then another, at least 3 or 4.
It's not a year at a time, is it?
It's a year at a time.
Is it really?
Yep.
Is there anybody else that does towns? I know when you look at mosquito control, the towns, it's always them that do it. And
She
they're,
moved up here now.
and they're in Brentwood too. But
There you go.
no, your answer is we have not. We put information technology out last year because we were unhappy with our provider. And we haven't done mosquitoes since it was incepted.
But we're
Inception.
pretty happy with their service. They
Yes.
do a pretty good job. They're pretty consistent, they're pretty responsive, and they do.
And we haven't had huge increases.
I was making no comment on the level of
No.
service.
I mean, they
I was just
provide
curious
reports,
about
it's not- yeah.
these large expenses, if they're going up to bid,
I understand what you're saying.
Yep.
or if we just stay with the same vendor out of habit.
No satisfaction.
I don't know if it's a habit.
That's satisfaction.
It's good service.
Service, yeah.
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction.
Yeah.
That is all?
Okay.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.